What's up, guys? It's Stiff Leg. Today, we're gonna be talking about strength versus size. How are they different? How are they the same? Let's get into it. So, what we mean whenever we're talking about strength in a working out context is the skill to perform a certain movement. Where the only thing that matters is the amount of pounds lifted, and then versus size. Size is what we mean by when we're talking about the actual size and amount of tissue of muscles that we have. How do we train for size? How do we train for strength? Those two things they're related, but they are a little bit different. And you might find yourself eventually having to prioritize one over the other. So let's get into it. What's the differences? Volume. Obviously, working at any muscles, regardless if we're training out for strength or size, we have to do a certain amount of volume. So what's the difference? Whenever we're training for strength, we're going to be doing way less volume. Main reason being because whenever we're talking about strength, we have to train at such a higher percentage. Generally speaking, whenever I'm training for strength, especially on like my main lifts, like a deadlift, squat, bench, that type of thing, it's going to be with 85% for like my top sets or higher. And then my back off sets will generally be in the 70 to 80% rep range. In comparison to size, if I was just focused on actual muscle growth, wasn't concerned about any strength gains at all, my volume would be much greater. There are definitely a ton of bodybuilders that whenever they're training, they're doing 20 plus sets every week for a particular muscle, in comparison to somebody that's training for strength, probably doing 10 or 12, depending on what muscle group they're talking about. Moving on to percentages, like I said, strength typically, to be optimally trained, it's probably going to be in the 85% up rep range, especially for like main compound lifts. While size, you really have a whole lot of leniency. It could be anywhere between 5 reps all the way up to 30 reps, so on and so forth. So you really have a lot more leeway with size than you do for strength, and because of that, you're able to do a lot more volume. So these two are really related right here. Of course, lower percentage, more reps, more sets, you may do a lot more volume. And frequency, this is again, comes back to volume. Frequency, whenever we're talking about for strength, we're doing specific movements. Technique is super important on strength because we're trying to move things in the most efficient way possible. So for frequency, you could be bench pressing 4 or 5 times a week, squatting 2 or 3 times a week, deadlifting once or twice a week, with the whole goal of moving things as efficiently as possible. On the flip side, for size, our frequency could be different, could be the same, but the movements themselves might be different. If I'm just training for size, I don't necessarily have to bench press or have to do a normal back squat, have to do a normal deadlift, that type of thing, because I'm not concerned with training those particular movements. If you want to, that's great. You might decide that, a different exercise might be better off for you if all you're doing is training for size, that type of thing. So, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you guys like and subscribe, and have a great rest of your day.